Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Like Queen Lisa. Today was our very last day of homeschool co-op for 2023 or school year 2022 to 2023. And I tell you, it couldn't come at a better time because we are buckling down. All the signs are there right now. Whether you're listening to Uncle Cliff or listening to Economic Ninja, watching the news, watching what's happening with BlackRock, SVB, and them even calling for the former vice president's mental eval since he wants to raise his hand and put his diaper changer back in for the next round. So anyway, Sean and I will bring you some new truth right after this. Give us a like, share the video, and we'll be right back. Jump in the chat and join our friends. Hey, Sean, how are you?
Hey, Lisa. I'm doing pretty good. Nice to be hanging out with you.
Nice to be hanging out with you too. Yeah, we had a great weekend celebrating Team Mighty. Had a lot of friends come in from out of town. We raised, I have to correct the dollar amount. So we said $86.75, but then Mame reminded me that she also sold 4 NFTs that went for one Litecoin a piece. So that would have been like anywhere from $88 to a little less than $100. So we're pushing around a little more than $9,000 or around $9,000 that we raised for Mame and her family.
Very nice.
For all the work at Team Mighty. So thank you to everybody that participated.
Awesome.
Yeah. We've got the replay on my Patreon. If anybody wants to go check that out. Bitcoin Ben spoke. We had Bix and Amy up there talking. My son Cannon, actually, that was his presentation for homeschool presentation today, was how learning how to give presentations through homeschool improved, gave him more confidence, and then he was able to speak at his sister's. We celebrate Mighty Mia every year, so he was able to speak and tell some stories about Mia, and thank everybody for coming. And then he closed out the event with my mom and thanked everybody for coming. It was real sweet. So that's pretty cool. Funny. Yeah, we had a great time. Lots of good stuff and lots of friends in the chat that came and were part of the couple day event. Yeah, Tom was there. Jim was there. Mark Weems came from Puerto Rico and had, I guess, just an awful time bouncing through different airplane, issues. Like this flight went out. Letha D watched the live stream and she actually won the Big Swear signed Road to Root a 10 ounce bar. So I've got to get that mailed out to her. Thank you for bidding on that, Letha. So good stuff, good people, and all came together to really help Mame. And I don't know, it's really kind of cool. Wish you could have been there. Maybe next time. Maybe next year.
I wish I could have been there too. Wish I could have been there at the OKC.
The OKC, baby. So I'm a little behind on news just because of, school, all these wonderful things going on. But I did catch a couple of things.
Our hero has
not my hero.
Let go. Huh?
So we're the latest.
He's my hero. Tucker Carlson.
Oh, Tucker Carlson. I thought you were talking about.
He was fired.
Yeah, and Don Lemon.
Yeah, I think there was maybe a correlation there.
And somebody right before, there was somebody else a week or two ago. Oh, Dan Bongino. Also.
Whoopi Goldberg's still there. Did you see the View? They had a party that Tucker Carlson was fired. They were like all whooping it up, and they had the audience like they were going, hey, 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 hey. It was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that will be. That's
She's
just all going to be relieved.
They could do whatever they want, man. She says the most terrible stuff. What'd you say, like Jews or terror? She said so many nasty.
Then maybe people will stop watching the channel altogether.
What? The View?
Fox. The View. Fox, any of that garbage.
I think it's like Bud Light. It's going to be like a dramatic. I think it's going to be dramatic.
It's like full stop.
They're gonna see like 50%, 30%, drop like right away. But I guess that's what it takes, man. I don't know. He wasn't just the number one news person there. He was the number one news person on the planet. He's like, I've said it many times. He's like the last journalist I think that there is in the world when it comes to, and that's Americanistic of me. I'm sure maybe there's.
He's also one of the most unlikely. I can't remember his full story, but like he only went into journalism because he was dating this girl and he wanted to marry her. And the dad said, no, you need a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so he's like, what's the easiest job I could do?
That's when he gave that speech. And that's when, did you see the speech?
I must have, because I think that's how I have that.
Well, he started calling things out for what they are. He's like, it's not about whose bathroom you use anymore. It's not about this issue. It's not about what's on a laptop. It's literally just good versus evil. I mean, it was a big deal to me. It hit me hard because it's like it's not. There's no more arguing. Everything's right out in front of you. It's literally like Star Wars. It's like the Empire versus the Rebellion. It's good versus evil. It's so blatant now.
I do want to say this was not me. Woman arrested in Sydney airport after staff find golden gun in her luggage. A U.S. woman was arrested.
Did they call James Bond?
They did not yet, but I'm sure that's some kind of calm. Here's another calm that came out just at the same time. Golden doodles roaming around Napa, California, getting caught on camera. They're seeing that Anthony Blinken was pretty much involved in everything, or colluding with everyone with everything, and all the deals behind. This is a really interesting thing that we can't talk about, but you guys can go check it out yourself. There's an Australian senator talking about events planned by global elites to depopulate the world.
Yeah, I said that from the beginning. I put my tinfoil hat on right away because I said 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I was like, this is pretty much nothing to young, healthy people. Young people with their pink hair and their blue hair and their 20 pronouns, and they do what they're told. It doesn't affect them. The people that this is horrible to kill are the old people that remember what freedom was and that know how to vote right. This is gonna hurt them the most, and it did. That's literally. And then when it didn't, in like New York and stuff, they made sure to stick them all together and get as many as they could in the nursing homes and stuff to wipe out that group of people. You can't argue with those numbers. That's what it did.
Yeah, I don't know what the real numbers are. I think we'll find out, but I know, there are a lot of soccer players falling down. There's the stories from, the embalmers with the miles and miles of clots. So people can go do their own research on all of that. I don't know that we'll know what the real numbers on any of that are for quite a while, but we know that they're lying to us. So, there was more.
Scroll back up. We scroll back up. I forget what I wanted to say something on. What was it? Go up? No, it's up a lot.
Soy. Banking.
No.
Blinken.
No, I forget now. Okay.
No.
I'll remember.
Passed illegal. Minnesota passes a bill to legalize recreational marijuana. Trudeau says he never forced anyone. What are you talking about? Sweden launches research rocket accidentally hits Norway. Sorry, Norway. 13-year-old boy groomed publicly on Twitter and kidnapped despite numerous chances to stop it.
It works though. I mean, you do what you want, and then you tell the person that they're the one that made you do it, or that you didn't do it. You just lie. What, are you gonna believe me or your lying eyes? I mean, literally, that's what they're doing. It's so blatant. It's not even. Oh, I remember.
Speaking of another blatant thing, they're coming for your children. Our children are our nation's future. They're in the hands of teachers.
And they smell real good.
Yeah. Rebecca put the teacher's creed into words when she said there's no such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are our children, and that's why the administration supports those who care for them. That's why they're trying to destroy parental rights and say that they know what's best for your children, not you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They really are turning people into cattle.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about Tucker Carlson, there was this interview. I don't know if you saw it with AOC and Jen Psaki.
Oh, God. And they were like making out practically or whatever.
Well, AOC said that that conservative news agencies needed to be regulated by the government. And Jen Psaki was like, oh, yeah. And she said, like Tucker Carlson, he did blah, 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 which is incitement to violence. That's incitement to violence. And she kept saying that. And then a few days later, they filed Tucker Carlson. And I think, but here's the thing. All of these talking heads, all these idiots, they say things like that. And what you should do right away is call them on it. When AOC says, that's incitement to violence, and say, okay, then charge him. We don't need more laws. We don't need to regulate this. If that, whatever it was incitement
if that is true,
to violence,
then yeah.
Okay, charge him. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. That's a crime. You can't say these people are committing crimes. We need to make this law and we need to do this and we need to regulate that. That's the thing about crypto. Like everyone kept talking about we need to regulate this. It's like, no, we don't. I mean, I got hacked and I was talking to someone's like, see, this is why we need regulation. We need this. We need the government to do this. I said, dude, I had money stolen from me. That's against the law. What I need to be able to do is call my police department and say, hey, these people stole my money. And they need to know what to do without me having to explain it, without me having to answer a bunch of questions, what they don't know anything about it, without them having to forward me to some agency they don't know. Nobody knows how to handle it, but that law is in place. I had money and someone stole it. That's a law. They broke it. They can go after them. We don't need new stuff. And if they say this is illegal, this is wrong, then the journalist or whoever's interviewing needs to say, okay, then charge them. That's a crime. Charge them. It's simple.
And then that person could defend themselves, because if they never charge them, it's just accusations. Like I'm going to be doing a quick update on the Very Dow channel and showing, but the Dow worked together to get the misleading warning that was on the Very token removed from CoinGecko. We're trying to reach other exchanges. Let's see if it's off yet. Oh, that's the wrong. Gecko.
I think Light Shadow has a good
very
good point. And that's what that's what I was thinking was going to happen.
So, yeah, you can what were we talking about? Misleading things and being able to hold people accountable. So you can make accusations, but then if you don't charge, if you're not able to face your accuser, if you're not, then your rights are being violated basically, because you aren't able to face your accuser. You can't defend yourself, and just the forever on CoinGecko and a lot of these other exchanges, it says the SEC has charged Reggie Middleton with blah, blah, blah. And so we pursued it and said, hey, you have misleading information that may be harmful to your clients, and you consider it. And they were pushed back on us, and they were like, please send documentation that this lawsuit has been settled. So we sent the final judgment, or final settlement. It's not a judgment because there wasn't a judgment against Reggie. He admitted no wrongdoing, and they just settled. because they weren't able to find him guilty of anything. And so now it's been removed. So one more step of clearing.
You're right, Light Shadow. He is free to speak because Jim Jordan gave him those tapes. It wasn't like he gave them to Fox. He gave them to Tucker. And I think something's coming. If you look at the shakeup with big conservative, with Crowder, now with Tucker and some others, I think if they came together, unlike under Newsmax, or if they, something else, they could be the next huge thing.
They're already talking about that. They're already planning on it.
Can you imagine DeSantis Carlson ticket?
No.
I could, and I would go for that.
No.
They're
about to release DeSantis travel records, and it looks a little shady, but I don't know if that's like part of the plan to make him look shady and discredit him. So, trust but verify. Everybody should check that out. Did you see the weird interview where he started doing the Hillary head shake thing the other day? It was a little weird. I don't know. But once again, is that all just distraction to make you think he's not a good guy? I don't know. To be honest, I think they're mostly all crooked, but
he's fighting Disney. That's something that no one's done ever.
Is he, or is he making deals with them?
No, he's fighting them. He's fighting them hard, and they're fighting. They're fighting really, really hard.
I saw a dragon on fire the other day. At Disney. Hold on, I'll show you. There was one other thing that Tamara Lynch got released, but she's obviously being handled. I wanted to show you that too, because they put their hand on her, and she was like kind of taken back. Where's the fire from There's the Rockefeller leak. 4 signers of the laptop conspiracy. I just had it. Big corporations out of nowhere. Kroger, Fry's Food Store, Kale Jewelers, Hallmark. They're all giving everyone an opt-out of Mother's Day option, so you don't get triggered. Because they're all anti-family activists. Anthony Blinken colluded with 51 intelligence officials to help Joe Biden. All the pedos dying. Here it is. Dragon at Disneyland bursts into flames. No injuries reported. Evacuated from Tom Sawyer Island, where the show is staged.
Tom Sawyer Island. Used to scare the crap out of me when I go to Tom Sawyer's the cave.
I've never been. So
I thought the Indian guy was really in the cave, because that's the thing. He he ran away and was hiding in the caves, and then they take you on a tour of the caves. I was scared shitless of the freaking Indian guy who was going to get me. I was like, why are we in this cave?
So First Republic Bank, I guess, was supposed to have failed yesterday. But then when I looked into it, it was like they renamed it and gave it to the indigenous people. They actually gave it to my husband's tribe, Potawatomi. But there was like some $800 million failure that they're trying to keep quiet about. And then they gave it to, and this Operation notice it's Sandhurst week. I think this April 28th and 29th, we're going to see Operation Sandman, which Andy Scheckman told us about. Go watch that video that I did with him a week or two ago on my channel. If you want to know what Operation Sandman is, just search on my channel for that. Where is that story? The Real ID thing. Rich Dad, Poor Dad says Bitcoin goes over 100,000. Look how she reacts when this guy grabs her.
Tamara Leach has been released from jail. Leach will remain in custody.
We have breaking news out of Ottawa to tell you about. A judge has made a decision on whether to grant bail for Tamara Leach.
You may have seen me on the news, but there's more to my story. In my new book, Hold the Line, I share the story of the Freedom Convoy from the heart of the Freedom Convoy. It's a story of hope, courage, and coming together as a community in the Canadian way. You can buy my new book at theconvoybook.com. So I'm launching a book tour across Canada. We'll be doing interviews, signing books, and saying thank you to all Canadians for your support. If you're a shop owner or a business owner and you'd like to have a book signing, please fill out the form on our website, which you can find here. And if you'd like to make a donation for the tour,
Tamara Leach has been released from jail. Leach will remain in custody.
I don't know. Just weird that they're grabbing her arm and saying she'll remain in custody. But she's been released from jail. But she'll remain in custody. And then that guy grabs her arm and she's like, and then she's going to go on tour and talk to everybody. What? I thought that was weird. Just weeks ago, here's Tucker. You love talking about Tucker.
These lies continue tonight. Rupert Murdoch, who has admitted they were lies and said he regretted it, has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth.
It's a video that
and from letting him go on again and again and again.
It's not
because their views deserve such opprobrium, but because our democracy depends on it.
Our democracy depends on it. What do you think?
He didn't slime anything. He's literally showing a video and making commentary. He could just not say anything and show the video, and it's pretty much the same thing. He just said, "Look, there's the police walking with this guy, opening the door for him. There he is. Look, he's praying for the police officers. He's committed no violence. I don't see him committing violence. You see him committing violence? I don't see him committing violence." That was it. That was the gist of everything he said. He was just commentating on the video that the other people weren't showing. So I don't know how but you can just say, "Oh, he's lying," and then people that don't actually watch it or don't think for themselves could be like, "Okay, he's lying."
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one that those people there's no record of their oath of office?
Yeah.
Who are acting as elected officials without swearing in allegiance to the Constitution? A writ of quo warranto has been filed in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C., stating that numerous oaths of office cannot be found on file for many of our federal public officials, including Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Also on the list of missing oaths of office include the CDC Director Rochelle Walensky, Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen, Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm, the FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock, Secretary of Health and Human Services Xavier Becerra, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, and the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, Secretary of Education Dr. Miguel Cadorna, Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo, the Attorney General Merrick Garland, and the Commissioner of the FDA Robert Califf, Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh, Deputy Secretary of Labor Julie Su, and the remedy sought for those individuals who have failed or refused to produce an affidavit as required by 5 U.S. Code, subsection 3332, demand that those persons provide the U.S. Attorney and the court in Washington, D.C. with the compulsory affidavit within 10 days. For those individuals who do not produce the affidavit within the 10 days and who have admitted that they do not possess the requisite affidavit, and those who have produced defective affidavits, they must immediately terminate their appointments or positions, render all official acts, bills, laws, regulations, or any official actions whatsoever, including the appointment of any subordinates, void ab initio, as well as replace and restore all proper and former office holders until competent replacements can be lawfully appointed. In order to be effective as a sworn declaration, it must either be sworn before a notary public or sworn under penalty of perjury per 18 U.S. Code subsection 1746.
I think Ron's got it right. They're not going to do anything, you know. It's like
You're so negative. You're so negative.
Well, okay, so the Secretary of Education didn't do his oath of office. Didn't you and TPA say that the whole Department of Education was going away like in November? Remember that? No,
I still believe it is. Do you not see that they're saying
last
like you're going to
November?
own your children?
Yeah, last November, the Secretary or Department of Education was supposed to be going away because it wasn't voted on or something wasn't done.
And
like,
there you
it's not
go.
gonna
It never was signed in.
It's not
There
going to
you
go
go.
away.
We were
It's not
right.
going to go away. It's still there. It's still
not
running.
there.
It'll just exist illegally. Everything everything the government does is illegal. It's just still. It's not going to end. It's just they're just going to keep doing it.
You can't give up. There's too many people. See all these people in this picture that showed up this weekend for Team Mighty? Those are the people that aren't going to allow that kind of stuff.
But
and the people that I go to homeschool with, and the people that there are way more people that care and that are doing things about it.
Care. We're here sitting here talking about it, but people have to do something about it.
There's a lot of people doing things about it. We're having meetups. We're educating our children. We're educating our friends and family. I had a lady today at school hand me a book that her pastor is now teaching in their churches about. Like, there's a whole movement.
I think that we've let things
and
teaching
so bad.
I think that we've let things get so bad for so long that we're at the point now where we don't really have time to do what we're doing. I think it's time. People have to like stand up and do like a radical stuff. I think it's time to really, really stand up and do something.
Well, this weekend when people can do vote with their energy, when they can make a choice with your energy, however that's going to play out.
With the Bud Light thing, people didn't just do memes. They actually stopped buying it. They actually went and they said something at their bar.
Yeah, and they need to quit shopping with Nike, and
they were scared to get yelled at. Yeah, that's the thing. And
who's next?
Adidas.
Mm-hmm.
They should be. I love Adidas. They were like one of my favorite brands before Nike.
No, Cannon was asking me. He was like, "Can I get some new shoes for summer?" And I was like, "Yeah." So let's look at what ones are made in America and what brands would be safe to buy for you. And he's like, "Well, I want some Nikes." And I was like, "You can't buy Nikes."
If they say screw you and screw me, and they go after him, he doesn't. Kids don't care about politics, and kids don't care about that stuff. That's really important. But if they pressure you, and they're like, "But I want this, I want this." Well, we'll get, let's get Fila's, let's get some Reeboks. And they're like, "No, I want Adidas, I want Nike." It doesn't. It's like they don't get it, and I think that's
our job. Then we've failed them as parents. But it's our job to teach them
overall, why. Parents in general have had a lot of their.
That's why people have farmed out parenting to schools.
And a lot of parents just give in. They're like, no, it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it.
Well, it's also the reason that we have a lot of kids on drugs. And because like I live in a affluent neighborhood, and the parents get, they want to be busy doing other things. And so they leave their kids with a ton of money and a big house and all the trouble they can get into. And then somebody knows somebody, get them out of trouble. And before you know it, they're all in rehab, and they're wondering why. Well, when was the last time you guys like turned the TV off and had dinner together and knew what was going on and who your kid's talking to on the phone? And you know what? You're a minor. You don't have privacy in my house other than, your physical privacy, but your phone is my phone.
Or even not that far. Just
Yes.
saying no and then sticking to it. I've seen so many things where like so college kids will do something and the cops are like, hey, I'm going to arrest you. And they're like, okay, fine. I'm sorry. And they're like, okay, you're under arrest. Well, what? They're shocked. They don't get it. You know what I mean? Because they their whole lives, they push. And when they push too far, they're like, okay, fine, I'm sorry.
No, we have a terrible, well, it's not terrible, but a sad story where like this group of boys, I think they were a golf team, went on, and they're used to, being the little, stars and everybody being connected and whatever. And they went on a tournament in Texas and they, went and snuck out of the hotel room or whatever. And somebody got some weed or something and they broke into like a church or something nearby. And so they got busted and the cops came. And one of these guys, maybe it was a baseball team, I don't remember, but a couple of them were like seniors in high school and had scholarships to college. They lost everything because now you have charges in your graduating high school, and they lost all of it. And people were like, that's not fair. Well, don't be mad at the cops in Texas who busted your kid. Be mad that you didn't hold your kids accountable the 10 times before that you bailed them out and they had no consequences. It's not like that's the first time they did that.
I had two friends. They had like big full rides to UT. I mean, like full ride football scholarships, and one of them had football and track. One of them had, and they got arrested breaking into a car, and they lost everything.
Yeah,
and it was like, dude, why would you? It wasn't, oh, how bad? Oh, I'm sorry. It was, I'll tell you a story about it. Scared the shit out of me. My mother told me, because I did that when I was like 5 years old. And my mom sat me down and she was pissed. And she said, I'm going to tell you a story, Sean. And I was like, okay. And she's like, there was this mom. And then her kid did this. And she went, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. These people don't understand you. You're an angel. And then she told, the principal, he got in trouble in school. She told the principal, you're wrong. My son's an angel, blah, 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 blah. Goes through all these things she tells me. He goes, and then he got arrested when he was an adult.
Right.
And she went to see him in jail. And he said, oh, honey, they don't understand you. You're an angel. These police are wrong. And she went and hugged him. And he bit her ear off. And I was like, nah. Scared the shit. I didn't get it. I was like, why would you bite his mom's ear off? She sounds like she's really nice. And it took me a long time to get it, but okay, yeah, because she basically
created the monster.
Yeah, she allowed him to go to jail. He got it when it was too late, and he's sitting in jail. But yeah. Yeah,
it's much easier to teach a lesson, like be strict early on and set some boundaries. That's where boundaries is so important. We did that whole book study on boundaries and having some strict boundaries at the beginning, and then be able to open the gate when they earn that level of when they've shown responsibility and respect. And then you understand, because their brain the development is not there till 23 or 25 or something to understand consequences, which is part of the reason the military recruits them at 18. But I digress.
Yeah. A lot of it is society too, though, because when I was, I had a weird time from when I was 12 to like 14, like 11 to 14, because I looked like an adult. So I hung out with adults. I did very adult things, did really bad things. And then I was like a big. I looked like a big biker. I was like 6'1". Probably like 220. Yeah, it was when I was a freshman. And I I smoked like, a pack of cigarettes a day at school. Even we had that, we could smoke at school. But like on football, my coach, the head coach, was like, he was a weird guy. He said, Sean, God has blessed me with you, and God has blessed you with your size, but you have to stop hanging out with those people.
Oh, I remember you saying
Better
that.
than those people. So they like these stoners and all these people were. I mean, and a lot of the people on the team were like their parents were wealthier, but it wasn't even that. It was that they were just like they weren't as a lower class people, and I didn't get it. I thought it was stupid, but I started hanging out with the like the richer kids, the more affluent kids, the kids that were all the really good kids, and I remember I went to a party and I smelled pot, and we're all having we're all drinking, and I opened the door to the garage at this house party.
Mm-hmm.
All the teen involvement, all the people that did all the pledges, never do drugs, and we're going to remain virgins forever and all. They're all in there smoking pot. And I'm like, you assholes. I'm like, I get persecuted and have to run extra laps and people look down on me for the people I hang out with. And you're doing the same thing. And I was like, those are a different class of people, man. Yeah, they're just a bunch of potheads.
They're like the rhino.
Like
they might be worse. They might be more dangerous.
They were like, we smoke pot, but they're potheads. Don't you get it? And I was like, no, I don't get it. And then I got in trouble. I went to the principal's office, and my vice principal hated me. And he's like, I'm going to suspend you. Blah, blah, blah. I told you, haha, I'm going to suspend you. And I was like, oh, how's Dee Dee? He was like, what do you mean? Oh, we're hanging out this weekend. Like, you're hanging out with my daughter? I was like, yeah, over at Marcine's house on the weekend. Yeah, she was a nice girl. Immediately, I'm not suspended. Immediately, everything's fine. And then I got it. And then it was like 2 a.m. We're at Burger King. Everything's closed. We were doing something that was we shouldn't have been doing. And then the police came, like 4 cars. And then they're like, oh, it's y'all. It's okay. And they just drove off. And then I understood that like society, because of my position in Texas, being like a football player, high school football player.
Oh, he must have hit a link. He'll probably be right back. But we should also jump over to his channel. Oh, there he is. Hold on. There you are.
Yeah, as soon as I get going, man. I realized that being a high school football player in Texas, that like meant something, and I could get away with stuff. And when I learned that, Jesus Christ, I did some bad shit. I mean, we did bad stuff. And once the police like cover something up, then they're in league with it too.
Right.
Like the next time you do it, they have to get you out of trouble again because they got you out of trouble before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a crazy thing when you look at like stuff in the news, but like, having like been a part of that, but it's true. You can get away with stuff. It's wrong, especially for me, because I didn't grow up that way. I grew up in reality, and then to just be like, oh, here, you can get away with anything.
I think that's what some of our even good people, but that's why we were having this conversation, some of the moms today, about the politicians, and we were like, mostly all of them are either bought and paid for or compromised. And that's where, like, I think we just have to stop having people lord over us. Yes, people can serve the community, but we can't look to them as our leaders anymore. That's where the whole thing has gotten turned upside down.
I don't call them officials. Yeah. I call them leaders. They're servants, public servants. That's what you call them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all part of the mindset, the wording, Democrat.
Yeah.
That's a democratically elected governor. That's a democratically elected, senator. What about the Republican? Was he not democratically elected? Was he appointed? What, It's all. And someone called him out on that, and it was funny because this guy actually stopped the hearings and like brought out like the dictionary, like it's grammatically correct to use the word democratic when you're. I mean, he made a big deal out of
Oh
it
wow.
because this guy's like, I'm not going to say.
I
it.
missed that one.
It's like the Democrat. And the guy's like, please say democratic. He was like, nah. That's what people need to start doing. That's what I do.
No, I'm not going to use it.
Like, Dad, that's sexist. I'm like, nah. They're like, yeah, it is. Nah.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Like, that's racism. Nah. No, it's not.
Nope, it's not.
You're kind of racist for saying that. No, not at all. Nope. Nah. It's just like you don't get nah. And it infuriates.
Don't get caught in that.
I don't want to argue with you. And I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not like, well, no, because I have black friends, or it's just like, nah, it's not. No. And then
that is it's like if you get caught not doing something, well, I don't have an explanation. Just the answer is no.
Like, no, I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not going to get mad. Like when my kids would get mad because someone said something to them. It's like, oh, he said that I was, a poop head, or he said that whatever it was. I'm like, well, are you? And like, no, that's why I'm mad. I'm like, well, what if he called you a truck? He goes, that's dumb. Well, would you be mad if the kid came to you like, you're a truck? He said, no, I think he's an idiot. And I was like, what's the difference? You're not, stupid, and you're not a truck. They're both not true. So they should mean the same thing. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. Hey, let's jump over and do the second half over on your show and see what you have to talk about today.
All right. Love y'all. Remember to hit the like button. See you over on my channel.
See you on Sean's channel, you guys. Bye.